Ladies and gentlemen, George Conway writes this absurd article in the Washington Post. I'll read it for you so you don't have to read it. But I'll correct all the glaring mistakes and overt... we'll get to it. We'll start reading it right now. George Conway, Trump is a cancer on the presidency. Congress should remove him. He knows very well that the Senate won't remove him. So even if they impeach Trump in the House, first of all, the whole thing, the Mueller report exonerated Trump. No collusion, no obstruction. Democrats, they did not indict Trump on anything. Why? Because there was nothing to charge him with. Do you think the maniacal, rabid Mueller team wouldn't have charged him with something if they could? They couldn't find anything. They don't have anything to charge him on. He didn't violate any statutes. This is like such an easy concept to understand. Well, what about the obstruction? What about he fired James Comey? Good. Comey should have been fired. We'll get to that in a second. So let's just read this. So it turns out that, indeed, President Trump was not exonerated at all. Actually, that's not true. Everyone who's read the report realizes he's exonerated. And certainly not totally or completely. Totally, completely, 100%. As he claims, Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III didn't reach a conclusion about whether Trump committed crimes of obstruction of justice. Wrong, Mr. Conway. Yes, he did. He didn't charge Trump. The team of only Clinton supporters chose not to indict the president on obstruction. They could have recommended to William Barr, or you can indict a sitting president if he commits a crime. Sure, why not? There's a Watergate memo and a Bush-era memo that says, well, protocol is that you can't. There's no law that says you can't indict a sitting president. They chose not to indict Trump or anyone near him for obstruction because there was no obstruction, because you can't obstruct an investigation into a crime that never happened. But let's continue. In part because, reach a conclusion about whether Trump committed crimes of obstruction of justice, in part because while a sitting president, Trump can't be prosecuted under long-standing Justice Department directives. Wrong. That's wrong. Those long-standing Justice Department directives are two memos, one a Watergate-era memo and a Bush-era memo. Wrong. And in part because of difficult issues raised by the president's actions and intent. His intent is none of your business. None of your beeswax. He's the president of the United States of America. If he didn't do anything, if they didn't find any collusion, and he happens to say, hey, this is a ridiculous, absurd waste of time, that's his right. At least he fights back. At least he's not like Bernie, takes a dive midway through the first round. Or I guess after he's cheated in the primaries. But anyway, and then promotes the same myth that said that he and Joe Stein were part of Putin's diabolical scheme. Anyway, those difficult issues involve, among other things, the potentially tricky interplay between the criminal obstruction laws and the president's constitutional authority, and the difficulty in providing criminal intent beyond a reasonable doubt. Wrong. This guy is supposed to be this fantastic lawyer, Kellyanne Conway's husband. Wrong. What they're trying to do is they're trying to say, gosh, this is just like Clinton's email scandal, where she transferred top secret and special access program intelligence on servers outside of the United States government that were hacked by the planet. We just can't find intent. No, she violated legal statutes. That's what Comey said. But he took it upon himself to say no reasonable prosecutor would indict. Or no reasonable prosecutor. Are you kidding me? Only reasonable prosecutors would prosecute a person who knowingly and intentionally has servers outside of the U.S. government, one in her basement, where they never utilize a government email ever, and they don't even utilize government servers, and they find some way. Maybe the special access program intelligence grew wings and flew out of JWICs. Who knows? George Conway should write an article in the Washington Post about how Clinton transferred top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government, specifically the Joint Worldwide Intelligence Communication System. But I already wrote about that in Butter Top Secret and Butter Deleted Emails. Still, the special counsel's report is damning. Mueller couldn't say with any confidence that the President of the United States is not a criminal. No, he did. He did say that. You know how he knew that? You know how he said that? Because he didn't indict Trump on anything. And it wasn't a cover-up like Comey with Clinton's emails. Servers, top secret emails on outside servers. He said stunningly that if, quote, if we had confidence after a thorough investigation of the facts that the president clearly did not commit obstruction of justice, we would state so. Who cares what Mueller felt? He didn't choose to indict the president because he had no evidence. There was no obstruction of an investigation that was unlawful, and an investigation where Andrew McCabe is under criminal investigation, James Baker is under criminal investigation, Comey was fired. The IG report said he should have been fired, and also, guess who else was fired? Peter Strzok. Even Sessions, that happened under Sessions, and Sessions recused himself from humanity. And the IG report stated that, by the way, Comey was insubordinate numerous times. But let's continue with the nonsense. Mueller did not so state. He didn't have to state that. He didn't indict Trump on obstruction. And there's a reason why, because there was no evidence he did obstruct anything. That's especially damning because the ultimate issue shouldn't be and isn't whether the president committed a criminal act. What? What? This whole thing was about Trump. They keep moving the goalposts. They never stop. Before it was Trump is a Russian agent. He's Putin's puppet. Meanwhile, Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin to speak maybe about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren, because Bill Clinton also met with Loretta Lynch 2 days before his wife Hillary was being interviewed by Strocky Poo. And, money flowed into the Clinton Foundation from Uranium One. Bill Clinton gets $500,000 from a Moscow investment bank. He meets with Vladimir Putin, but no connecting the dots there. 20% of U.S. uranium capacity. Putin owns mines in the United States of America, uranium mines. And these are the wonderful people who are going to protect us from the Russians. Yeah, right. As I wrote not long ago, Americans should expect far more than merely that the president not be provably a criminal. Whatever. Yeah, you should expect. You had to fabricate all of this, and you still couldn't find what you wanted. So now it's, he shouldn't have been the subject of an unlawful fabricated probe. It's like, yeah, I guess you're right. You're kind of looking at it in a weird way. We should expect far more from the president. Well, he was set up and framed, so what do you want from him? The guy can't win. He's set up and framed, and he proves to everyone that he was set up and framed. And then it's, why? How dare you even be the subject of a unlawful, investigation that should never have been conducted? In fact, the Constitution demands it. No, it doesn't, buddy. Whatever. The Constitution commands the president to, quote, take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Yeah, he actually is trying to do that with immigration. And the Democrats are not letting him. It requires him to affirm that he will faithfully execute the office of the president and to promise to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. Yeah, he is. He is. You want to know who's fighting these unelected officials? Trump. Where does it say that Peter Strzok in the Constitution, that Peter Strzok can decide an election? As a result, by taking engage in an insurance policy, or stop Trump, like he stated. As a result, by taking the presidential oath of office, a president assumes the duty not to simply obey laws, civil and criminal, that all citizens must obey, but also be subjected to higher duties. What? what some excellent recent legal scholarship has termed fiduciary obligations of the president. The guy was... This is hilarious. They use a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton. They use a third-party tech firm outsourced by Clinton. Now George Conway is upset that Trump was the subject of an unlawful investigation into him, where they unmasked names and they set up Carter Page and they framed Papadopoulos and they framed General Flynn, who's an honorable man who should be pardoned, exonerated completely. I love this. This guy's hilarious. He's like, the president should be in a much better position than he is currently. Well, why is that? It's like Bernie Sanders, like, you know what? It's my fault that my face was flying towards your fist. Fiduciaries are people who hold legal obligations of trust, like a trustee of a trust. Oh, thanks, George. A trustee must act in the beneficiary's best interest and not his own. If the trustee fails to do so, the trustee can be removed, even if what the trustees has done is not a crime. Okay.
But do you think what happens if the trustee is the target of a Steele dossier purchased by Madam Cyberhack? Then what happens, Georgie?
So too with the president. The Constitution provides for impeachment and removal from office for treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. That did not happen. He did not collude with Russia, and he didn't even commit a crime. In fact, actually, the people who investigated him committed numerous crimes, and I explained in my Federalist article the crimes that the legal statute that James Comey, Strzok, and McCabe will be charged under for investigating Trump by starting an unlawful and illegal probe. But the history and context of the phrase high crimes and misdemeanors makes clear that not every statutory crime is impeachable. What? And not every impeachable offense need be criminal. Yeah. Okay, so now you're just... Slate wants to impeach Trump on his personality. That's literally an article title. Trump's personality is an impeachable offense. I think that's the title. As Charles L. Black Jr. Put it in a seminal pamphlet on impeachment in 1974, assaults on the integrity of the processes of government count as impeachable, even if they are not criminal. Sadly, there was no integrity in what Comey, Strzok, and McCabe and Brennan and Clapper did. So you can throw that out the window. And presidential attempts to abuse power by putting personal interest above the nation's can surely be impeachable. Trump didn't do that. The president may have a raw constitutional power to, say, squelch an investigation or to pardon a close associate. But if he does so not to serve the public interest, but to serve his own, like Mark Rich, like when Clinton pardoned Mark Rich, he surely could be removed from office on his last day of office, even if he has not committed a criminal act. This entire article is saying impeach Trump, even though he didn't commit a criminal act. This is hilarious. I could go on forever. It's the same boring. Trump, on the other hand, was a one-man show. The investigation that Trump tried to interfere with. Yeah, good. I wish he interfered more with it. To protect his own personal interests. No, he was fighting back against an overt framing and setup. What they did to him was criminal, and now it's the big payback, Georgie. The big payback. Like James Brown said, the big payback. Now everybody involved is going to be charged with crimes. Sorry. That's the way it goes when you use a Steele dossier and illegally spy on campaigns and outsource the third-party tech firm, CrowdStrike, and all these crazy things that took place. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Tables are going to be turned. Was in significant part an investigation of how a hostile foreign power interfered with our democracy. No, they didn't. Russia never interfered with the election. Never happened. How many Facebook ads can you name that led to a specific number of voters voting for Trump? How about zero? How about zero Facebook ads and zero number of people? Sorry, you make a statement, you have to back it up. If that's not putting personal interest above the presidential duty to the nation, nothing is, whatever. Congress now bears the solemn congressional. Everything is solemn now. To excise that cancer without delay. Oh, yeah, right. Trump is the best thing to happen to the United States of America in a long, long time. And Trump is like medicine. You got to take your medicine, liberals. Take your medicine, Democratic Party. You're not going to like it, but it's going to make you feel better. Make the country feel a lot better. Great economy. Much better foreign policy than Obama's, who destroyed Libya. Take your medicine, Democrats. Trump is, and now the retribution's going to start. You see, you thought you had a good time. Wait till Trumpy gets the payback. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. And check out HA2A, my firearms channel. My Patreon is below in the pinned comment. Check out my writing in the Jerusalem Post below, the Daily Caller, and the Federalist. Ladies and gentlemen, I tried to get through this, but it was just too much. Oh, Congress should remove him. Oh. The sanctimonious. So many sanctimonious twerps in the Democratic Party. Hilarious. Give me your thoughts. Share this segment everywhere. Thank you.